This week on SV Lynx. Welcome to this week's SV Lynx video. At the start of this week, we had plans to get the chamfer panels on, but changes in weather made us update those plans.
Yeah, we had to roll with the changes, as REO Speedwagon says. And, but we still got a ton of stuff done, just different stuff. So we'll show you what we started with and what we finished with this week. So let's get to it. So it's time to do deconstruction. We already got the jacks out and we're going to take these tables apart. So the first thing we're doing is pulling all these boards off, and we're trimming off the edges of those because we're going to leave those two cross beams temporarily until we finish up the chamfer panels and get that all tabbed in. We got our first two cubes out. We took one completely apart and the other one we set over there to use as a table. And we'll take that one up there completely apart and get rid of it as well. Now we're leaving some support in temporarily while we work on the chamfer panels, although we'll probably have to reconfigure it slightly because right now it sticks out too far for working on the chamfer panel. But we're moving along here. So once this is clear, the next job of the day is probably going to get our temporary bulkheads out that go between 5 and 6. We put in some temporary supports, not really needed, but until we get the chamfer panels all glassed on and some of the furniture to tie this all together, it's just additional support for it until then. So Brian and I are working on the other side now, over on the starboard side, getting our chamfer panel temporary bulkheads in. We're going to get the third one here. Got the first two all ready. Yeah. How does it look? Is there a gap? Okay. Our plan at the beginning of the week was to get the chamfer panels put onto the boat. And for that, we needed this side of the temporary bulkheads in. However, as you'll see in a few minutes, plans change. Okay, so that fits perfectly, and that fits perfectly. We got those three. So those are all 6 of the temporary bulkheads for the span between bulkheads 5 and 6, but we've got to put one between 6 and 7 down there. So we're going to do that next. That goes over here in the engine compartment because it's just too far of a span here between these, so we need one here for support as we're putting this in. So time to put one across here. There's a very long panel that goes all the way down the side here and goes down from the bridge deck down to the hull. And rather than try to hold that heavy piece up here to test the fit, we just took a small piece of foam, which is the same thickness as the chamfer panel, and we can check to make sure that we're leaving the right gap to insert that large panel between these 2 points. Okay, we'll get the last one in. Perfect. Okay. We have a bit of an issue. And it's caused by, once again, our full-size long panels in the bridge deck, because since that whole bridge deck had to be made as one unit and raised up, which you have seen in the last few videos, that means that the sole of it is already up there, no access from above. And we have to bond this curved portion here up there. And dropped a block. Oh. So reaching it is part of the issue. Now we have to fill all of the gaps of the kerfing with epoxy, and then we have to put a layer of glass on top of it as well, and we have to bond it to all of those different bulkhead portions inside there. And so it's really tricky here because reaching it to do any of that is almost impossible. It's too far in. We can't lean on any of this. So what we're going to have to do is reach in as far as we can from the sides and then use tools to reach in from here to do the work, which is really hard on there. And so the second part is if we got to get a layer of glass in there as well. So it's going to be a multiple step process to bond this up. And once we do go to bond it up, what was going to hold it up in that curved position while it sets up. So what we did to fix that issue is we cut boards here that we have mounted to the side of that curve so that once we take this up here, this piece all the way up, we can put screws through it with washers on the other side and hold it against there to hold it in that position while it sets up. But it's really going to be tricky to get that initial work done. So this is the sort of the order we're going to do it in. We're going to put epoxy in with rollers back there, and we use very thin epoxy so that it can seep in down into each of those cracks. Let that seep in. While that's seeping in, we will coat the lower half of those little bulkheads with thickened epoxy, so get some thickened epoxy on them. So now we'll have epoxy on the bottom into the grooves and then thickened epoxy ready. But we still have to get a layer of glass in there. So at that point what we're going to do is we're going to take in a piece of peel ply, and that same stuff we used when we were doing the reinforcements on the deck that has the extra thick, and we're going to lay a piece of glass on there, and we're going to slot that piece of glass in there. Then we'll hold the piece of glass as we pull that other piece out so it'll leave it sitting in there. Then we'll roll from the top of that and get it wet, at which point we'll put epoxy on these rounded portions up here, bring this whole thing up, put our screws in to hold it in place, and hopefully it'll all be done before the epoxy sets up, because we have to do all of that before any of that epoxy sets up. And the good news is it's going to be only in the high 70s tomorrow, even at the later in the day. So our hot weather has ended and we are into a nice cool. So that's going to give us more time to work this, which is good because there's a lot of different steps there of epoxy, because it all has to be on as we put this up. Nothing can be set up ahead of time. So that's a little trick we're going to have to do tomorrow. So we're going to start early tomorrow morning. We've got it mostly prepped and ready to go now. So in the morning, we'll get right to work. We've had a change of plans this morning, and that's due to the bizarre weather that we're having. Only just 4 days ago or so, it was 111 degrees Fahrenheit, this is in Celsius. And we were just dying and working in the heat. Well, today when we started, it's 51 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's a giant drop in temperature. So you can see I'm wearing long sleeves and had to get dressed up for the cooler weather. But it's also something else that this weather bizarreness is costing us, which is a change in plans, because as you can see, we were preparing to stick the chamfer panels on to the boat. Not anymore. Those can wait, because in just 5 days from now, it's going to rain. And now they're not predicting a lot of rain, more likely a little bit of drizzle, but it could be a light shower, but it's at least drizzle. And so we kind of want to prep for that. And the very next thing we were going to do after the chamfer panels was to put the decks on up here and the side angle on the side over there. And same thing over here. We're going to go ahead and do that for the rest of this week. And we're going to get the two decks on both sides of the boat now, because that'll allow us to take a tarp from the top of the roof up there down to here and then just hang down, and that'll protect water from getting down into the holes here. And it'll get rid of that two sharp edges there, which would cut the tarp, because it'll be the tabbed in panels for the deck and the side piece. And so we've got to hustle, because that only gives us 3 working days before the rain to get 2 decks on. And so today what we're going to do is, we already put on these chamfer panel portion here, but we're going to be on the other side here and be putting on the full arch that connects over to them, that supports the deck across this big span right here. And so we've got to get these temporary bulkhead pieces in now. So we'll be working at that. There's 4 on each side, 4 arches. We're hoping to get all 4 of those in there, on here, ready to go for the panels to go on tomorrow. So today we got to get all this done. Now if we are really good and we get this done fast, we'll start putting the first decks up there today, but we'll see. Okay, we're starting off by putting this side of our arch on here. We'll go down the whole way, and then there's a piece that connects these that we'll put on afterwards. So on to the next. So you need this one. And we got Dale here today helping us, which is good, because those two can do the prep on getting these blocks attached and stuff over there, and I can stay in the hull, talk to you guys, and because climbing in and out of the hull is no fun. So with Dale, they'll prep it, they'll bring it over, and then I can sit here and hold things as we're getting them screwed in, check levels and all that good stuff. The reason we had to do some weird shenanigans here is that these MDFs used to connect across the bottom here, but we couldn't do that because that wouldn't allow us to put the sole portion in while these were here, and we have to put the sole portion in before we can do other things. So these had to be cut off. I did verify that with Schoening, and they agreed that these would have to be changed. And so that's why we did it this way. So next up, we're here between 6 and 7, and it's also a bit too large of a span, so there's another temporary bulkhead that goes in right here, and we're going to be putting that in next. So you need to put the blocks in this. So where I'm standing right now is the stern cabin, and this is the actual bed of the stern cabin. The mattress level will be up here somewhere. And this is where the electric motor is going to go. And it'll sit about dead center in this, which leaves a huge amount of space in front of it that we'll use for storage now, because that was where we were going to put the batteries. Because of weight, those are up there now. And so this becomes useful storage. So we'll probably put a cupboard here into this whole storage area right underneath it here. And then we'll be putting a double floor here so that the heat from inside, because even the electric motors get hot, doesn't transfer up through into the bed area. So we'll put an upper and lower floor about maybe an inch apart or so, just to cause that air gap. And then that floor has to be made so that it opens like a clamshell like this, so that when we need to access this, we can flip these 2 doors up. There'll be a support beam across the center for those to land on, but I'm going to make that removable, so it'll just sit down into a U-shaped piece, drop down into it, and then the clamshells come down. When we open that up, we can just pull this beam out and have full access to the electric motor area if we need to work on something. All right, so Brian's got this one ready to go. Now we got to figure out where it goes. Where's that measuring tape? Okay. All right. That's the port side. We got to do the starboard side. So we're going to do the starboard side now, and starting here in the engine compartment. Fortunately for us, since we're still waiting on our part from Combi to fix the mount for the magnetic clutch. We haven't put that stuff in here yet, so at least I can still get in here and with a crate and stand on it. So that's a small side benefit of still waiting on that. But it's coming. So we'll be able to get to that later. So that's pretty much better now. Okay. Okay. Let me start that again. Take two. Cut. All right, we're on to the final one of getting these arches in. So 7 down, 1 to go. Okay, let's go grab the things and stick them up there before we lose Dale. This is deck 4. We're pulling the peel ply off because we're going to put the deck on now that we have those temporary bulkheads in place. Time for the deck to go on top of the boat. So we got it out. We've had it over there covered for months. Pull the peel ply off, and as you just saw, now we're going to slowly work it onto the deck right now. Okay, forward. Okay, now we have to check where we're at. Okay, this morning we've already got the decks laid down up on top there, and today we're going to lay down the angled piece of the actual hull side next to it. But first we'll put it on top, and then we'll slide it off on there because we're just doing a dry fitting right now before we get to any glass. How much further you got to go? Okay, you got to go beyond that. Let me come look. We don't want it to come crashing. My little things aren't that strong. Okay, now we learned some things. So today we have one of our patrons helping. Say hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
And what we're doing is we're working on the, we did the deck portions, we laid those up. We're going to put the first part of the hull on this at an angle off the deck. And so this is one of them. And we've got to pull the peel ply off of this first on both sides. And then we're going to get it up on top and in position on the boat. So they're going to get started on that. I'm going to go make some blocks to hold it. All right, so first thing we're going is out into the parking lot. Try not to hit my car when we do this. That's the silver one. You can hit everybody else's car.
All right.
1 second. Oh, I'm chroming. Okay. We'll just keep coming in straight until he gets in the gate. Let me know when you're in the gate. Not, he's not in. Let's get, yeah, okay, now you got to swing in, Jeff, the other way. The other swing. You have to climb over that. It's flattish. Okay, I'll deal with that later. Let's see if we can't get this to go under the other one though. Okay, hang on. We gotta go forward. It's off. It's coming off the side. You like it there? I like it there. All right, now we're gonna set it down onto the side. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, we've been putting up our kerfed area here on the front of the bridge deck, and so we had epoxy inside and glass and all that stuff, and then curve it up. We've got it all screwed in here to hold it nicely. You can see we've got a nice, beautiful curve, and it was a 3-person job though, so it's a good thing that we had our patron Jeff here today. He really helped a lot. So Brian and I and Jeff got this thing done, and I'm happy with how it came out. It's a beautiful curve. It's curing up right now, so all set. So good day today. This morning we're still working on getting the decks on. Today we're going to try and work on the bow decks. We already have the ones that go up the side of the boat dry fitted on there right now. But we want to put the bow ones on so that we can tie them all together dry to make sure everything's in the right position before we start tabbing any of this stuff together. So that means it was time to take a look at the plans on this stuff. So make sure that I'm getting the right things in the right places. So I don't know if we'll be able to see this. If not, I'll put a graphic up. But so we're looking here for the deck 1 pieces, which are right there, and deck 2 and deck 3. So I already found 3, and we already found 1. So we got to go find this shape here of deck 2. So it looks like a pretty sharp, curvy piece. So I'll go look for that. So in the shipping container, this is all that's left for us to get out of here, for this thing is fairly empty. And a lot of these big ones that you see here, that one that goes up, and there's 2 of those, and then this big piece here, these are the chamfer panels that go on the inside, and we'll be getting to those this week. These are chamfer panel ones as well. So those few big ones are going out this week or next, and that's just going to leave some of these smaller ones over here and such, and these will actually fit inside of the white container. So we may shift all of these over into that white container, and we can sell this thing off now and get it off the lot. So we're getting close to that. But right now I got to find these panels. We've got our deck pieces out. These are deck 2. And decks 1 and 3 are up there already, so we're pulling all the peel ply off of all of it, and we're gonna get to dry fitting soon. Okay. All right, that one's out of the way. Next, we're going to put the decks up. So this piece goes on that side. This is the top. So out that way. going on. That's because we're going to be tabbing in the deck and hull pieces there. So we're sanding along the edges where we're going to tab in up there right now. So we got Jeff over there doing that. Brian's going to be mixing epoxy. Terry and Nick over here are helping me dry fit some of this other stuff while they're working on getting that ready. So I got to go up top here, take a look at that. Our conundrum of the moment is we're trying to put this deck piece in, and it goes about where you see it right here, and it can't come far enough back because of this post that's holding up the salon roof right now. So we're just going to have to put in and we can't put it anywhere along here because it's all got to come back. So we're going to put a 45-degree support in across here to hold this up, and then we'll take this off. We got a epoxy towel on here. Let's go get the grinder. So lots of work going on. Okay, here comes Nick with our grinder.
Okay, we're kind of working into place.
Okay.
We are dry fitting all this in to make sure all these ends meet up properly. These do all down here, and the curvature over there all meets up. So it's just as a dry fit, it's all looking good here. So what we'll do is now we'll dry fit the other side because we want to make sure that all of these boards are working together on the decks here before we start tabbing these long ones down the sides on it. I can't ever move again.
We're tabbing on the deck up here. Don't move. Which is upside down work, which we love. Okay, so that's a wrap. We've got our first deck tabbed in back here. So it's not going anywhere now. We took a lot of checking and stuff to make sure it was in the right place. But it all matches up. It all matches the plans, and we're all good. So peel ply on all of it. And now all thing left today is we're going to cover up the boat a little bit because there's going to be possible showers, maybe drizzle on Monday. Train guy. And we don't want stuff to get wet, particularly the areas where the MDF temporary bulkheads are, because the MDF cannot get wet. So we've got some new tarps that we're going to put up there, and these decks are going to help it drape over there easily. So that's what we're going to do now.
So that's a wrap for this week. As you can see, we got the temporary bulkheads in.
Yeah, on both sides. And we got that rounded portion of the bridge deck, the curved area, up and glued in permanently. And we also dry fitted all of the decks all the way around in the front, and even tabbed in the side ones already. So we made great progress this week. But we also did something else.
As you can see, we put up some brand new tarps covering everything for some light rain we're expecting next week.
Right, it's going to be really light, so not the big deal, but we wanted to make sure we didn't get water on that MDF. So next week, we're going to work on the chamfer panels, right?
Right.
Nope.
Oh, why not?
Because what happened is that we decided that we want to work on the webbing for the sole between bulkheads 5 and 6, because we won't have access from the interior side of the boat there, only from the exterior once we have the chamfer panels in, and it's a lot easier to get those done while we have that access. So instead, we're going to put all that web in and glass it all in and get that all done, and then we'll do the chamfer panels finally. All right, well, thank you all for spending time with us. We always appreciate you stopping by, And thank you to all our patrons for supporting this channel. We really appreciate you.
Yes, thank you for spending your time with us. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the bell icon to be notified of our next video.
And we'll see you next week for some craziness in the holes with those webs. See you then.
Bye.